Hello and welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Computer America Show. It's our pre-show. Intel is joining us in the first hour. It's going to be Chris Walker is going to be talking about the 6th generation Intel processor. And then in the second hour,
1 minute until showtime.
Cyber Black Ops is going to be here talking about Fire Dragon and cybersecurity industry and how it's changed and what we can do to protect ourselves. All that coming up. So sit back, relax, enjoy 2 hours of the Computer America Show coming right at you here. Stay with us.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And I'm really excited to announce this is our Intel Sponsor Hour. That's right. It's all about Intel and what Intel is doing each month at this time. We bring to you Intel, a guest from Intel, to talk about all the exciting things that Intel is doing. And we are going to do that right now. Anything you want to mention before we get started, Ben?
No, but I guess if we're following the theme of the show, Intel. No. We're excited to have him on, and you know, we get to talk about one of my favorite things. It's processors.
Yes, and by the way, if you want to watch what's going on, you certainly can. Just go to our live streaming video. It's our show lounge at any page at ComputerAmerica.com, and you can watch the show. You can see Ben has the technology to display websites, movies, background information, so you can see everything while we're talking to Intel this afternoon. Now, as I mentioned there, Intel is our guest today in this Intel Sponsor Hour. And each month we have an Intel representative speaking on new Intel products, services, and news stories. Today we have Chris Walker to discuss what Intel is doing with their 6th generation core processor. Wow. And what that means to you. Chris is Intel's Vice President and General Manager of the Notebook Product Group. Hey, Chris, welcome back into Computer America. How you been?
Hey, good, Craig. Thanks for having me back on.
Absolutely. Well, let's see. Last time it was August 2014, and you were discussing the Atom processor, the Core M line.
Yeah, we were talking tablets in Atom, and you know, today I'm back to talk about our newest core processors, the 6th generation, and what that can do for computers and users. Everything from kind of tablets up through the biggest, baddest gaming systems.
Right, and so let's do that. Let's tell us more about what's new and special with Intel 6th generation core processor.
Yeah, it's a special time for us, and we think for the PC overall, as we were able to bring out our best processor ever with the 6th generation core processor. I think for those of you, in your audience who have been tracking us a little more closely, that was formerly a codename Skylake. But it comes out at a time that's really super exciting for what's happening with the PC in computing. So in addition to it being our most energy efficient, highest performing processor we've done, it comes at a time where you see this really cool range of new uses. Everything from, you know, these 360 GoPro videos that lets you share the world as you experience it, We see computing in more places, kitchen to the cafe to the conference room, and new ways of interacting to bring your 3D world together. As we talk a little bit more about what the processor does, it helps enhance your experience in all those ways you've traditionally interacted with a PC, plus kind of opens it up to new uses that people haven't been using their PCs for.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about, some of the features that we're going to see. I mean, what is it? What nanometer are we talking about? And some of the specifics about it. Mm-hmm.
So this is the second iteration on our industry-leading 14 nanometer process, and what that's enabled us to do is really focus on both the architecture and the performance efficiency of the processor architecture. So it is a huge leap in performance and efficiency. So this is what enables you to get that great notebook performance in something that's thin and fanless. So you'll see a range of products coming out. A great example is the HP Spectre X2. You get something that's around 800 grams. 8 millimeters thin, completely fanless. So you have a great tablet experience. But as we've talked about in the past, these 2-in-1s where you get your kind of notebook capability in the same device. So that's an example of we designed for that level of power performance, but it's our most scalable processor ever, where we've been able to do things where with desktop, and I know this is a favorite for Ben, our new 6700K processor for the desktop has already set new records for overclocking for kind of the enthusiast gamer in traditional desktop towers. And at the same time, we were able to bring, again, because of that efficiency we talked about, bring overclocking to the notebook. We've brought those same level of K SKUs to notebook processors, and done something for the first time ever, which is create a mobile workstation, a first mobile Xeon. So the content professional, the architect, the designer can take it on the road with them, can take it to the job site. And to put that in perspective, that's something that just 3 years ago took a workstation tower that was about 66 pounds. We've now been able to bring that same level of performance just 3 years later into a notebook about an inch thick. So it's really incredible advancement of the capabilities of the system.
So in just 3 years, you were able to shave about 65 pounds off the processor weight. That's right.
Exactly. Wish we could all have that kind of diet plan, right?
I'm looking at some of the features at the Intel website at intel.com. You have a button that says check everything about this sixth generation processor. One of the things it says, it has a half a second wake up time, instant wake up time. What is that about?
Yeah, so that's a great thing. Together mentioned, one of the reasons is very exciting about this timing of the 6th gen core is also you've got Windows 10 out. And OEMs doing some really exciting PC designs. So what we've been able to do is together with Windows 10 and something called Modern Standby, is the system is so responsive that you can implement your power management in a way that your system can wake up in as fast as half a second. And one of the things that we see is a great opportunity for users, given how many people are still working off of old systems. There's about 500 million worldwide 4 or 5 year old PCs still in use. And what people are missing is the fact that a modern notebook is 2.5 times faster, 30 times the graphics performance, 3 times the battery life. And so many of the features of the 6th gen core processor together with Windows 10 deliver that step function of a huge gain in computing the way people do it today, and they're just not aware of what they've been missing out on.
Yeah, I would imagine. So you mentioned Windows 10. Obviously, Windows 10 is now officially here. It's been out for some time, and Windows 10 and the Intel 6th generation core processor optimize the work together, I would imagine.
Absolutely. So we've had a long engagement with Microsoft and PC OEMs and worked very hard together for Windows 10 in a couple areas. So one exciting feature that we talk about is something called speed shift technology. And what that does is allows the processor to control when we shift through different performance states. So in the past, the OS controlled that. Now that's moving down to the processor. What that means is, big gains in productivity. Think of that as you're driving on a twisty mountain road, and with the processor being able to shift, basically you've taken the latency from what used to be 30 milliseconds down to 1 millisecond. So that's how fast you can reach the different performance states within the processor as your computing demands change. It's an example of us working together with Microsoft to change how that is architected on the system. The other is something like Cortana, and a big feature of Windows 10 and an exciting new user interface is that intuitive, interactive voice assistance and voice interaction. Well, we've done a lot of work in our research and together with OEMs about how you place the microphones, how you do beamforming, and that's all things that we work together with Microsoft, work together with the OEMs to create a better Cortana experience on systems.
Wow. Now,
Yeah, I can imagine where processor speed and all that kind of thing really would make a difference for Cortana. I mean, she's running so many different processes, and she's searching an entire computer. Would that just make her more responsive? Would that just kind of reduce the hangups with her? What does she do, or what does the Intel processor do for Cortana?
Well, a lot of it is you put your finger on it. A lot of it is system responsiveness. So what do you use with that speed and that improvement? It's things like how fast does the application open as you're going through multiple tasks, as you're using the new Edge browser. The speed and responsiveness of the system is how we've architected the system, made it kind of a wider machine, especially in media and graphics. So a lot of things you'll use Cortana to interact with video, and we can play back video at much lower power states now. So you can have 10 plus hours of battery life. And I think you've seen some of the recent, OEM system announcements, notebooks at 12 plus hours of battery life. So It's a really exciting where, the way people use their PCs for both content creation and consumption, we've made a huge effort to reduce the power that those tasks take. So you get a longer battery life.
And in addition to that, also, one of the things you say here is get creative and play harder. In other words, you're talking about higher resolution, faster frame rates, ultra high definition 4K multimedia experiences with the 6th generation Intel Core processor. You're saying better 3D graphics, like 30 times better than a 5-year-old PC. Go into some of the details of where all these numbers and explain this a little bit further. This is amazing stuff.
Yeah, we've been on path for several years now, focused more on visual performance, and with the new 500 series HD graphics and our Iris and Iris Pro products that come out, we've been able to increase just in that 5 years, by a factor of 30x the graphics performance on the system. What that allows you to do is play richer gaming content on a notebook. Our Intel processor graphics basically has the capability of about 80% of all the discrete card volume today in notebooks, and at the same time enables better battery life and thinner systems. To give you one extreme is, or one area where that comes in is, you can now take a Core M based tablet or 2-in-1. So again, a fanless, ultra sleek, ultra slim device, and now have a great Warcraft experience on that. Something that you couldn't do before. You didn't have that level of portability and flexibility in how you gamed. Now we can bring that to something that's Core M based. at the same time, on the 6th Gen core architecture, there's a lot of focus on media and that visual performance of being able to do multiple 4K displays. In fact, we showed at our developer conference 3 interlocked on a racing simulator, 3 interlocked 4K displays, all driven off of the integrated graphics.
Wow.
That's impressive.
It is impressive. Now you're getting into some of the devices. Why don't you tell us what devices are available for people to purchase with both Windows 10 and 6th generation core processors from Intel?
Well, the list is really long because worldwide we've just seen great response to the processor. Today we're tracking about 300 designs on notebooks, and when we count in desktops, including channel partners, there's probably about 800 designs and systems that will be coming to market on the 6th Gen core processor. So hard to detail them all, but some of the exciting ones that you've seen maybe announced to date from the likes of HP announced a range of products recently, including the NV34, which is beautiful, curved all-in-one, which also includes the Intel RealSense camera. From HP also, I think the Spectre X2, which is a great example of one of those thin, fanless 2-in-1s that gives you that performance tablet and notebook flexibility. Dell had some beautiful examples with their XPS 13 and 15, showing kind of what's new for a notebook design. And then of course, Microsoft had some exciting news with the Surface Pro 4 and the Surface Book, which really shows the flexibility and scalability of that processor in both a 2-in-1 and a notebook system. So those are some examples of really exciting. Another great one, Toshiba has a Satellite 12 that's coming to market. Beautiful convertible 4K display. Just an excellent system as well.
Wow.
And talking about different display options, this is something that is going to start playing a bigger role in the coming months, and I'm sure in the next couple of years. I'm sure you have heard about it. Pretty much everyone has by now. There are these virtual reality systems, that are coming out by a couple of different companies. Do you think Intel processors, or just better processors in general, are going to play any kind of role in improving those experiences for people?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at some of the specs that come out, I mean, it's going to be pretty high-end hardware. And, today, processing along with graphics is a huge part of that experience that will continue to grow. And so when we think of things like, virtual or augmented reality, we think the processor has a huge role to play in that in terms of the performance. The other is, you think about, I mentioned, at the top, these 360 views of the world. YouTube has a 360 degree video channel now. GoPro has, I think it's a 13 camera, kind of ring system for how you capture the world around you. We actually had a partner with a company called Sender Films, where they took a 6th Gen laptop and a 6-camera GoPro and rock climbed out here in California. It was able to share that experience, but what's incredible is because of the capability in the notebook, they were able to, in the field on a notebook, stitch together those 6 high-def streams together into one panoramic view of climbing. And so that really changes, one, how they produce, because they can do all this out in the field, and 2, how me as a user who's never going to be rock climbing can share that experience of what it's like to climb to the top, and then once you're out the summit. So it's a really cool way that that the processor helps both the creation of the experiences and the share back of the experience.
Boy, the vertigo must be amazing watching something.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting when you pan down and you see really how far up it is. That's it's a cool way to see it.
Exactly, and that's what people want. I mean, the more realism, the better. And of course, you need the horsepower to do that. And obviously, with something like the 6th generation core processors, you're going to have that horsepower to do it. So you're calling this, I guess, Intel's best processor ever. Okay. And it is, and
well, I won't hope like, we came out with one about 7 years ago. It didn't get too much hype. That was a second.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us, what does the release of Intel's best processor ever mean for people, and how is that going to translate this? How is it going to translate into a great user experience?
Yeah, great. So there's a few areas where we believe it's really excelled. The first is I talked about that scalability and the range of designs and systems that'll come out. So this really product has about a 20x power scaling. So everything from a 4.5 watt exciting 2-in-1 like I talked about, but also new things like, I don't know if you've seen or if your listeners have heard about these new devices called compute sticks. So you can take in a small something, maybe 2 packs of gum size HDMI connector plugged and turned any monitor into a smart monitor. Those are areas where you'll see digital signage, conference rooms, or in the living room, being able to bring kind of that Core M performance into new devices, all the way up to kind of the 90 watt desktop performance gaming. So that's an area where that performance scales. It also enables us to bring computing into things like the conference room, and with something like an Intel Unite platform that we announced back in June. That's going to expand for business users to bring computing and collaboration into the conference room. So new market areas for us. The other area,
not to distract from this conversation, but to kind of give people a little bit of homework out there for any long-term listeners, or maybe you're new. We had a great interview with, I believe, Dan and John from Intel, talking when they just launched the Compute Stick and the NUC. So if you want to go hear more about that, we had a great hour-long segment with them as well, if you want to hear more about that in particular.
Yep, great. And for notebook, as an example, a lot of people, I mentioned both gaming, but also, content creators. We've made gains in performance where, as we bring things like 4 physical cores down to kind of i5 level in our notebook, so making that performance more accessible, you see things like 60% performance improvement. And the trick is, at the same time we did that, we made it 60% lower active power. So now, if you think about, you used to have to maybe carry a very thick notebook around if you wanted great gaming performance, or if you're doing, CAD applications or animation. Now you're going to see that level of performance in things, under 20 millimeters. And to put that in perspective, just 4 short years ago, that was kind of, we said that was the new thing of an ultrabook. That was something that was, very thin and very unique in the industry. Now that's becoming mainstream, and we're being able to bring even the higher performance notebook systems into that level of thinness and great battery life.
Wow.
Intel really seems to value not just the performance, but also the performance to the energy draw, just how much power it actually needs. Why was that such a huge thing? Because I may be one of the dying breed, but I have a giant desktop right here next to me, and I have a power supply unit, and it's like, take 3 windmills worth of power. I really don't care. Like, why do all of your chips kind of feature the better power, function, rather than just having some that take all the power it possibly can and then give a better performance? Was there some, like, why did it have to be better more efficient?
Well, this is an area where, again, from both the process technology and the design team, they're able to deliver that level of scalability. So if you're driving the big tower and the big power supplies, the processor is scalable to deliver a great experience on that. But when you talk about the desktop, you get new things like you mentioned the NUC, you mentioned these curved and thin all-in-ones. All those then have a balance of efficiency and performance. So it's important for us to look at the efficiency both from a kind of a mobile user, but also in through desktop. So that's to answer your question, Ben, that's why we kind of look at the whole range and spectrum. And so if you're a overclocker, as an example, and love to take your system to the limits, what 6th Gen Core processor has done is we brought in new levels of control for that user. So we call B-clock overclocking. So very fine-grained controls. You can set your own ratios. You can overclock the memory. And within a week of this product being announced for desktop, new overclocking records set on this architecture. So we're really happy about that.
It's interesting because when you think of overclocking, you think primarily the processor, but overclocking on the memory too, which you afford those tools from the processor. That's something you don't quite hear as much. But
right, it's something that the enthusiast and that base of people really focused on, wanted that level of control, and so it was something we were able to bring back into the processor and really allow those users to kind of stretch their legs. And then, as I mentioned, now you can do that in a notebook system as well, which I think is pretty cool. And you can see a lot of Acer with a Predator system, Asus with their Republic Gamer systems, and others bring new levels of flexibility and control to even notebook form factors.
Wow. Now,
yeah, I remember, just a couple of years ago that overclocking was you had to go onto the forums, you had to trust complete strangers, and it was a full day of, trying different settings and crashing the computer and being like, hope I didn't fry it, and that doesn't work. Let's try to redo this scenario. So you're saying that the overclocking software that comes natively with this is going to get just as much as it can. Still, no overclocking is completely safe. There's always heat issues, but as best as you can get, this software is going to get you.
Well, what it does is it gives the user much more control and fine-grained tuning of how they do it. So some OEMs will actually implement push button overclocking. So you can have a more of an easy mode in terms of doing it, but it still gives you all the control to push it even further. And we've obviously we see, and we had people in our IDF doing the liquid cooling as well, and pushing it even further.
Wow. And again, it sounds to me like there's less risk involved, and at the same time, because Intel is sort of sanctioning, okay, well, you're allowed to do this now.
Well, all overclocking is do at your own risk, but
yeah, there's always risk. What we've done is provided the users with tools to be able to do it in in different increments and with more control, and then the OEMs are looking to bring that kind of experience to users in different ways. In some cases, with push button ease.
Ease, exactly, and it's always better to do it with push button than messing around with microcontrols. I certainly understand that. Listen, we're getting close to the bottom of the hour, but I just want to start off. We've heard a lot about this Windows 10 World Tour that Microsoft launched this month. Can you tell us a little bit about the events? We're going to probably run out of time. We got about a minute, but at least we can start off with that. Okay.
Yeah, I think this highlights the partnerships with the PC makers, Microsoft. Obviously, many of them built on most of them built on Intel 6th Gen Core processors, and it's come together to deliver really what's the best of Microsoft, the best of Intel, and the best of new PC systems. So you'll see I mentioned, the HP products that have come out, the Dell, things like the Dell XPS 15. For those of you who are listening outside the U.S., it's coming with overseas partners as well. So it's really a great way to kind of celebrate the effort and results that have come out of Windows 10, 6th Gen Core, and the OEMs. And, again, if you think about it from what the user can get now, there's really something for everyone, where a system now is half as thin as a 4-year-old PC, half the weight, 3 times the battery life, 2.5 times the performance, and leaps ahead in new things like security, business experiences, which we'll be talking about in January as come to the IT professional.
Right, Chris, we got lots more to talk about. We're at the bottom of the hour break. This is fascinating. Yep. We're talking to Chris Walker. He is Intel's Vice President and General Manager of the Notebook Product Group. We're talking about the Intel 6th Generation Core processors. We're going to take a short commercial break, and I'll be right back with Chris. This is the Computer America Show. Stay with us.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's the fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
These days, the only things doing any drilling or screwing are in my tool chest. Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Ryobi OnePlus right-angle drill. We can't tell you how many times we needed to drill a hole or work a fastener where no drill or driver could reach because there just wasn't enough room for it. We asked Ryobi to send their 18-volt OnePlus right-angle drill, and it solves everything. The head has an LED for seeing your work. The base has a magnet for holding screws and a clip for holding hex bits. With a massive battery at the base, it's an overall heavy rig, but well-balanced for a near-bottom grasp point, which is where they place the variable speed trigger and the reversing switch. Bottom line, the Ryobi OnePlus 18-volt right-angle drill fits a lot of beef into tight spaces. Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Here at 33 minutes past the hour. We are still here with Chris Walker, the Vice President and General Manager of Notebook Product Group for Intel. And we were just getting into this, into these Windows 10 World Tour events that are going to be popping up. And I'm sure, and obviously Intel is going to have a big part of that because a lot of these systems seem to have Intel just, baked right into them. And real quick before we get back to the events, maybe not everyone is really familiar about how to spot what kind of hardware is in what computer. How would one kind of go about, before they go make a purchase, where would one look to kind of see if it has an Intel processor or anything like that?
Yeah, so, we make it quite easy for the shopper, and with the new 6th Gen cores, we have a badge on the system, desktop or notebook, and for the 6th Gen core processor, and you'll see that link on our site intel.com, shows the badge that has kind of this cool graphic of a segment of what the die looks like, with the Intel logo on it. And with 6th Gen Core, we've offered the user more choice with both our Core i processors. So you see Core i357 to help you have an easy choice of the performance level in a traditional notebook or desktop. But also we've done with this processor line, introduce Core M3, M5, and M7. And what that allows the user to do is, for these very thin fanless designs, choose the processing level that's right for them in those kind of ultra thin two-in-one form factors as well.
That's nice. So you have the labeling down, so right, you can see it right on the, if it's the computer's on the.
It's right. It's right on the system, and for most PC makers, if you look at their spec sheet or the retailer, they'll call out that it's a 6th generation core-based product.
Obviously, they want to brag about that. That's the promotion.
So,
absolutely, we like that, and we like users to look for that.
Exactly. So tell us more about the Windows 10 World Tour, with Microsoft that launched, and what can we expect to see in these events?
Well, I think what you'll expect to see is some of the great new features of Windows 10. We talked a bit at the outset about Cortana. Other new great uses like Windows Hello, and I don't know if Craig, if you've seen this use yet, but it basically allows you to log into your system with a look. And it's a kind of fantastic step and part of what we've been talking about as new in computing, which is basically being able to eliminate the typed password.
Right.
And
your face becomes the password, really.
Your face becomes a password, and when you couple it with a RealSense camera from Intel, and Intel has a product line called TrueKey, you can not only log into your system, but use that same face recognition that has just fantastic degrees of accuracy to basically log into all your websites, not just log into your PC machine, but also use that across your varying websites. So I think the average user probably has to remember something like 17 odd passwords. Most of them are insecure. Think about, you maybe once every, quarter, you might go into your 401k, and then you've got to remember, what was my daughter's school account, and this helps make that seamless, and it still keeps you secure. Actually, even more secure because it's you're using your face, but it just takes that pain point of computing and trying to remember all this jumble of passwords, and takes that away.
Chris, obvious question is, what prevents someone from taking a photograph of me and holding it up to the thing? Why won't?
That's a great question. Because of the different technologies, it actually looks for that you're a live face, and point in the case of the RealSense camera, it maps different points of your facial structure. In fact, when we did our launch here at the beginning of September in the IFA conference in Berlin, we actually tried it with two identical twins, and the PC was able to distinguish between the first and second twin.
That's amazing, because obviously there are. I think people who grew up with identical twins can kind of know the difference, because over time you can kind of tell. But when at first impression, it's sometimes extremely difficult. And for this technology to be able to recognize the difference between two identical twins, That's really cool. That really is.
Yeah, so that's one of the great new experiences that's with Windows 10 that's implemented on select OEM systems, both notebooks and things like an all-in-one desktop that people will see in the world tours, in addition to these fantastic new OEM designs that people have done, that they've executed to.
All right.
So you might know this a little better than most of the guests, but something that happened a couple years ago, it faded out of popularity, but it was a thing, now it fell away. And now we have this whole RealSense technology, camera, your face, that kind of thing. Why is something like this kind of taken off while fingerprints? There were a lot of products out there that would read your fingerprint and sign you into things. That was supposed to be pretty secure, but that seems to have fallen away.
I think you'll see there are still fingerprint implementations. Obviously, on phones, it's very, very popular. I think what's important is that in many cases, people want multiple factors of authentication, especially in business. And so when we talk for your listeners that are small business owners or even or the IT professionals, we talk about multiple factors of authentication. So it might be a face or finger biometric with a personal presence of an other known device, maybe like your a connection, Bluetooth connection to your phone, and so they'll look at multiple things to get the right context for security. And so I think that coupled with Windows 10, there are also new features in the 6th Gen core processor, something called software guard extensions, where think of it as like we've made this in the hardware. Think of it like a lockbox or bank vault that's secure in hardware and enables future software applications like TrueKey, or in the future other secure software elements to execute in these little enclaves or bank vault boxes within the hardware, and so helps prevent a lot of the common attacks that we've seen, as well as gives future uses for secure software.
Wow.
Makes sense.
It sure does. All right, so the holiday season is coming up. I mean, it's literally
so fast.
Yeah, it does.
It's here. It's almost here.
Here we are again. So, Chris, why don't you tell us what we have to look forward to in terms of these devices?
Have you finally made these chips small enough, cheap enough, accessible enough that I can give them out as a Halloween treat?
Depends on the neighborhood you live in. You mentioned the smallness. That's an interesting one. With the Core M processor, just as an example, we made the package just versus last year, 33% or a third smaller, just year over year. And going into what people will see in the holiday, one thing we're really excited about is the continued growth of these two-in-one devices. So again, the best ever performance tablet, the flexibility and productivity of a notebook. This category has been super hot. We've seen huge growth year over year. In fact, the only mobile category that's growing faster is the phablet. And we find that users coming into the store or shopping online, it's about split, where about half of them were looking for a tablet, a performance tablet, and liked what they saw in a two-in-one, and that actually gets even better with Windows 10 and Continuum. And another big portion of those buyers were actually notebook buyers, but actually came in and decided to replace their system 8 to 12 months earlier than they were thinking of, because they liked these sleek, powerful designs, everything from 10-inch up through 13, 14-inch notebook systems that give them the flexibility to watch movies, be productive the way they want to, with no compromises.
Wow. So all these are going to be available for the holiday season. Things that we're talking about here, the 6th gen processors are going to be on dealer shelves, or people can order them.
Right. Yeah. So many are available online or coming into retail shelves now with increased availability for the holiday season. Again, very excited about everything from the notebooks to the 2-in-1s, the all-in-ones, and these even a very exciting category for desktop are mini computers too, mini desktops, where again, Ben asked earlier about, well, why focus on performance and power efficiency for desktops? Is we can now bring these into boxes that are 1 or 2 liters small, and now think about PC gaming in the living room, or how flexible it is to use in your business or your business conference room. Just opens it up in the kitchen, right? Just new areas and performance without a huge footprint.
Yeah, obviously, if you have a relatively nice looking living room, the last thing you want in there is a desktop PC, with all kinds of wires coming out. You want it to kind of work itself into the decor of the home, and certainly having a computer fitting into your media center certainly is going to be a lot better fit and a lot better looking.
And the choice is incredible. These PCs are in the any range of colors you can imagine. Everything from what the hot rose gold color of the season to some of the gaming systems with very cool accents and cutouts and very innovative form factors and design. So it's really kind of the best time I've seen to buy a PC because of the choice, because of the match to both the user needs and just even the design element.
Well, okay. Now, obviously, we've been talking about the 6th generation processors that are powerful enough for gaming. Okay, so I guess the question to ask is this going to be a segment for Intel and for the holidays specifically?
Absolutely. We see, gaming is a super hot category. It's amazing to see. There's over 1 billion people worldwide who identify themselves as active gamers, meaning they pay for content, they do it once a month at least, and it's been just a super hot category and segment. You now have Intel sponsors the Extreme Masters tournament, and you see the level of prize money in professional gaming rivaling that of many professional sports. We see gaming tournaments where people are packing arenas to watch other people game. Twitch gaming has been huge, with people watching, watching gaming. So we've been incredibly excited about the growth there. We've seen a lot of passion and OEMs bringing out new systems around the 6th gen core, both desktop and notebook, that have really brought gaming to new levels.
Yeah, I always love watching. I believe the Intel Masters, like you guys or at least Intel sponsored a League of Legends tournament, and that was a lot of fun to watch. And it's nice to see such a large company that really could see such a fledgling industry as professional gaming, kind of say, well, it has a ways to go, blah blah. We'll keep an eye on it. But no, Intel really seems to be taking an active approach and really trying to help get these guys going.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see gaming tournaments that are done on notebook computers only, or some that are completely done on Intel Iris graphics. And we've embraced and we learn from and grow with that passionate community.
That's a big statement, because normally when you think of the gamer, they want to have the hottest, the fastest, the bestest, of everything they have, and yet here they are with a laptop, which has this kind of power in it, without, requiring, the state-of-the-art graphics cards.
Well, I think there will always be those that, have to have the desktop, have to have the biggest, the best, and the most powerful thing. But I think it's more of a testament to just how much performance you can actually get out of a laptop nowadays, that it can do, most things that a desktop could.
And it's interesting, again, with over 1 billion PC gamers, right? Not everyone is the extreme tournament level, but there's a lot of people where, their chance to game is maybe when, you're the business person, when you're on the road, and it's, you can log that 2-3 hour gaming session when you're on the road and out of the house, or the person who games in a cafe, or in between classes, right? So that's the flexibility, and I think that's part of the passion of PC gaming is the scalability and the multiple ways people engage in it.
And you're seeing more and more of that, especially with generation processor.
Absolutely, and we see the 6th generation core processor being especially suited to help people get the most out of their PC and their game experience.
So we're going to see the 6th generation in you mentioned the mini PCs, desktops, the all-in-ones, and also the 2-in-1s too.
Absolutely. So, and in Compute Sticks as well. So Core M, we've brought Compute Stick. We first launched it with the Atom processor, and now we're offering the performance and flexibility of being able to do it at the Core M level as well.
So I've got to ask you, Chris, what are the systems on your holiday wish list?
Well, yeah. There's so many to choose from. I will probably be looking at both a new notebook and a new 2-in-1 for traveling. But the choice is just fantastic. So it's going to be hard for me to choose. So I have the benefit of being able to try and play with most of the systems. And again, it's from our processor to what the OEMs have put into to their system designs to what Windows 10 delivers. I'm very excited about what I have to choose from, and it's going to be a tough choice.
Now, are you yourself a gamer, Chris? Are you into games? Or?
I would say I'm more of a casual gamer. But yeah, I do absolutely do enjoy it. More kind of in the racing genre than either the shooters or the strategy games, but yeah, I definitely like it.
I was going to say we could set up a match with you and Ben, but
I don't think I like my odds.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoy racing games. All the racing simulators out there, they're getting so high end, and the graphics looks just so good nowadays. That I'm sure there's a couple of racing games out there that are going to come out this holiday season that I'm sure are just going to look stunning with, again, shameless plug, with the right processor and the right horsepower. Racing simulators have never looked better.
I saw an advertisement for one of them. I think it was Forza, one of them. I thought I was watching an actual race. I mean, the game looks so realistic. The graphics. I thought I was watching a movie of somebody shooting, this, and then I realized, no, this is all graphics generated. It's just absolutely outstanding, and this is all coming up for the holiday season. I'm sorry, Chris, you're going to say?
Yeah, the physics, and then another exciting thing is when we look at Windows 10 and DX12. We've obviously optimized our graphics hardware for DX12 as well, and what that will enable is over time you'll get new exciting effects, but also it allows you to play that same process, that same graphics at a lower power. So again, an area where we work together with Microsoft, and you see what new hardware will bring out is even more efficiency. So you can game on the go. And to your point about the racing simulator, yeah, we have one that we've been demoing and showed at a developer conference where we basically had a pro race car driver use it and say, yeah, he had to use the same techniques when he crashed that he does in a real car, meaning, get the hands off the wheel before you break your wrists or arms. So you can get every level that you really want out of the systems.
Wow. So I want to back up here just for a moment here, and we were talking about the sixth generation processor. You mentioned that comparing again to a 5-year-old PC, you said you get 10 hours without recharging. But there's a difference between that and battery life. In other words, versus you say it's 3 times the amount of battery life. When you say 3 times more the battery life, are you talking about the actual battery itself before you have to change it out?
No, meaning the time between charges.
Okay.
So if you look at a notebook of 4 or 5 years ago, they were maybe getting 3 hours of battery life, or if maybe someone started with a 4 or 5 hour battery experience, it's probably degraded to about 3 hours now. But 10 hours of video playback, 10 hours of productivity on new 6th Gen core based systems.
Wow.
All right, and there's something here. Hopefully, anything on the Intel homepage here is fair game, because we've had a number of guests on, and a number of listeners have asked us to talk about this. What does Intel and their processor do for drones?
For drones, that's we talked a bit about our RealSense technology for things like a no passwords experience. You'll see come to market with new kind of tablets or 2-in-1s, the ability to capture the world in 3D. So on a PC experience, something like our RealSense world-facing camera allows you to scan objects. A couple interesting things you can do with that. Everything from, if you're a real estate agent, be able to capture everything in 3D, to being able to integrate 3D objects in your own personal game. Now, if you take that technology, you can think of it in, drones or other robot applications where it can see the world in 3D to be more self-guiding. That's everything from a flying drone to, hotels experimenting with robot butlers that can navigate in and around people in corridors because they can actually see the world. And so that's an Intel technology. And then that's backed with, you couple that with the processing power that you get with Intel that enables the device, the drone, robot, whatever, to see the world in 3D, but also process the image and do the computation of how it interacts with the world very quickly as well. So they work very well together.
So I'm kind of wrapping things up here. And again, just time kind of flew by here. I wish we had more time, Chris. But so the 6th generation is going to come in the 3 flavors: the Core i3, the Core i5, and the Core i7. The higher the number, the faster the processor. What does the i3, i5, and i7 correlate to with these processors?
And then in the same time, if you're looking for the thinnest fanless type systems, the Core M processor also delivers performance steps in 3, 5, and 7. What that basically does is, between a 3 and a 5 and a 5 and a 7, you get a graduated or a performance difference in the speed of the processor and how much it scales up. We do multiple things in terms of it could be like in the mobile case, certain i5 processors or i7s might be have more cores for more multitasking performance. So those are examples of how we both focus on performance and capability to grow up at the M5 or M5, M7, i5, i7 levels. You also have vPro options for the best in manageability and security if you're a business as well.
Right. And of course, everybody knows what their main function is, and so and Intel affords them a variety of choices to match the processor that's best for their applications and what they need to do. Again, the 6th generation core processor is available now, and certainly by the holidays will certainly be readily available. And Chris, we're pretty much out of time. I want to thank you for being with us here on today's show and letting our listeners know about the 6th generation core processors from Intel. And it's a pleasure having you on the show, and hopefully we'll have you back again soon.
I look forward to it. Thanks for you and your listeners for the time, and looking forward to seeing everybody in the stores together.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure Ben will be there.
And Ben, we'll set up that match.
Right. Got muscle out of the way to the front.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Again, thank you so much for being with us here at Computer America. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Thank you again.
Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye. All right, there you go. Intel. Again, the 6th generation core processor, what it means to you. Hopefully, I've given you a better roadmap. And when you're making that all-important decision as to what computer you're going to buy. And hopefully it will have an Intel 6th generation core inside as well. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk about security. We're going to talk about FireDragon. That's right. We have the company CEO talking about FireDragon. Stay tuned for another hour of the Computer America Show coming straight at you. We'll be right back.
And here we go.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello, and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
Interesting first hour with Intel, the 6th generation core processors.
I remember it fondly.
Yeah. I want one. Ben wants one. Everybody wants one.
Yeah, but you have a Mac, so you're...
I have Intel inside. Mm-hmm.
I know, but you can't swap, a new one in.
No, but I can get a new Mac with a new processor.
That's true. All wrapped up in a nice, shiny $2,000 extra. That's nice. I like that.
Exactly. If you missed any portion of the show, you certainly can listen to it again. We archive all of our shows at ComputerAmerica.com. And we make them available. Just go to the archive selection on any page at ComputerAmerica.com, and you're in. Now, this hour, we're going to switch gears slightly, and we're going to be talking about internet security. We're going to be talking about FireDragon to the company Cyber Black Ops, and we'll be speaking directly to the CEO of the company, Mr. Sean Gallagher, is going to be joining us. If you have a comment or a question for our guest, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. Or if you're radio shy, you don't want to make a call, but you still have a question, just go to any page at ComputerAmerica.com. In the upper right-hand corner, it'll say Submit a Question. Just click on that link. It'll take you to our question submission page. You can type in a question, click the Submit button, and both Ben and I will see your question, and we'll ask it for you to our guest. We'll pose it to our guest. Okay. Again, if you're watching the live video stream, just go to the show lounge at any page at ComputerAmerica.com. Ben, as you can see, has the technology to display. We have live video streaming. He can display the company's websites, videos, movies. All of that is available to you. Okay. So before we get started, anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, today.
Mm-hmm.
Of all days is and again, I'm not that familiar with the show or with the movie, but hey, I go on the internet and the internet is going absolutely crazy. Today is Back to the Future Day.
That's right.
October 21st, 2015 was when Back to the Future, they travel forward in time, and I believe in the second one, and yeah, they traveled to October 21st, 2015.
Has Marty McFly shown up in any place? Has anybody spotted him?
One thing that I have heard a lot of movie theaters are doing, and you can go check your local movie theater, a lot of movie theaters are playing Back to the Future 2 on special times. So you can go to, whatever movie theater you normally go to, and you can probably go catch in full cinematic glory Back to the Future 2.
I enjoyed that trilogy. I thought it was good. I mean, when the first one came out, and then like a couple of years went by, and then
for a trilogy, like for a genre, for like a concept such as that, you think that the second one would be complete crap, and the third one would just be a follow up, and it's like, oh, they're just cashing in on the first one, which was a very, very good movie. But 1, 2, and 3, all three of them were actually very entertaining.
They were very entertaining. They were very good, and again, a terrific cast. A support cast for all three movies.
Sure. So Back to the Future Day.
Yeah, it's an American classic.
Right. So Back to the Future Day today. Go check out a movie theater if you want to go see a movie that's been out for 30 years.
Exactly.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, take a friend or if someone hasn't seen it before.
Well, I never saw it in theaters because it came out about 3 years before I was born. So
I saw all three in theaters.
Right. So it might be fun for those of you who maybe know the movie but have never got a chance to see it in theater. Mm-hmm. This is probably, of course, unless they make like a number 4 and they go 6 years in the future, it's probably going to be one of the last times that it's shown in theaters.
I would think so. I don't think they're going to make any more sequels. I think that's pretty much it. But again, because they completed the story, there was no more to tell. They finished it, and they didn't leave anything open-ended. Unlike like Star Wars, you'll have a cliffhanger at the end. This had no. I mean, the first two had cliffhangers, but the whole story resolved itself. So,
right.
Okay. Well, that said, let's move to our second hour guests. In this hour, we're going to be talking all about cybersecurity, and we're going to hear about something called FireDragon, which is a network intrusion detection system, or NIDS. If you're into acronyms. It's an independent platform that identifies intrusions by examining network traffic and monitors multiple hosts. NIDS gain access to network traffic by connecting to a network hub, switch configured for port mirroring, or a network tap. In a NIDS, sensors are placed at choke points in the network, often in the network demilitarized zone, or at network borders. Sensors capture all network traffic and analyze the content of individual packets for malicious traffic. Now, if you're confused about anything that I just said there, here to explain all of this to us is Sean Gallagher, the CEO of Cyber Black Ops. Sean, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Fine. I'm
doing great.
Doing great. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have some questions. In my introduction, I was using some technical terms. Why don't you kind of explain to listeners a little bit more in your words exactly what FireDragon and what is it all about? Yeah, and what does you do? Okay.
Okay, so what FireDragon is it's a device that we install on a network, and basically what it does is it monitors your network for network intrusion. And what is important about that is most companies, both large and small, have a threat out there that they may or may not realize, which is the threat of their security being breached. What that does, or what we do, is we look at multiple hosts, meaning PCs, servers, that type of stuff on your network to see if there's any type of intrusion or problems, or if we see anything suspicious. We then report that back to you via multiple different ways, report that back to you and tell you, hey, listen, here's a threat, here's where it is, here's what the problem is, and then you can make a determination of how you're going to deal with that threat, what you're going to do with it, if you're going to take and re-image the PC or something that on that scenario. So it basically is an alert system for intrusion. And intrusion is a little bit different than, say, a virus. A virus is basically set out there to basically wreak havoc on the particular host that it's installed on. What intrusion detection there is, it's a little bit more evil. It ends up that it sits on your network to gather information, to either send somewhere, to give to someone, or to basically utilize that information to get more information out of your network. And that's unfortunately where we're at today.
Okay. So all of this, I mean, has cybersecurity changed in the last 10 or 20 years? I would think it had, but why don't you speak a little bit?
Yeah. And basically 20 years ago, cybersecurity really was a threat of a very unorganized person that usually is in their basement or wherever, and basically hacking into the systems, a lot of times just to see if they can get in. There wasn't a lot of malicious intent, more it was just kind of see what they could get into. In the last 10 years or so, it's basically became a spot for organized crime. As it sits, and most people don't realize this, but when they get these credit card, things in the mail saying that their credit card has been breached, or in my instance, in the last 3 years, I think I've had 3 or 4 ATM cards that have been redistributed to me. I don't know if you guys have had that, but I have, and I know my wife has too. But that usually that usually tells you that there's been a breach with inside, usually either a subsidiary, the bank, or one of its vendors. Mm-hmm. And what that does for you as the consumer is it makes your pricing on the stuff you buy, the costs at the bank and everything all go up, and those kind of reflect in the prices.
Okay, so the cost of doing business keeps increasing because it's more costly to do business, to keep business secure, is what you're saying.
Correct. And when you have companies that are losing tens of millions of dollars on a yearly basis, and interestingly enough, most people don't even realize how much breaching goes on. I was just at the bank the other day, and my wife, her ATM was breached, and ended up in a situation where we were trying to get it squared away. And I had to ask them, I said, can you get any information, or can you tell me any information on what breach and where it happened? And the bank told me, we can't give out that information. So this is happening in the back rooms, and that's where it's staying.
Well, the only way to get that information is, of course, to hack into their systems, take the files by force.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Exactly. I remember something similar that happened to my wife. All of a sudden, she was getting charges from. There were small charges, like $20 or $30, from some little city somewhere in Russia. And I remember they made her go into the bank, and the woman, the bank manager, looked at her straight in the eye without a hiccup and says, "Well, have you been there recently?" And no, I have never been to Vladivostok, Russia, ever, and then of course,
and that's what they call a test. What they were doing is they were testing to see if your wife's card worked. Mm. And so what they do, and people should always keep track and understand what happens on their statements. But what they do is they basically test that water to see that card works. Once they see the card's working, then you'll see that the charges progressively get larger until it is either found out or it's ended up in a situation where they've drained whatever credit card or bank account they're attached to.
Sure.
But the interesting thing is, I bet you that you probably and your wife probably don't know where your credit card information was breached at, and they probably don't have any type of intrusion detection system on their system. That's the more interesting thing, is that in the industry, intrusion detection is really more a threat deterrent than antivirus. And people buy antivirus, but no one really thinks about intrusion detection. And that being said, it's been in the past where intrusion detection has been basically kind of something that only security people knew about, and it was real expensive, and you needed to consult and need all this stuff. What FireDragon does is it basically takes care of all that. It basically ends up in a situation where you can be a person that knows a little bit about networking, knows a little bit about systems, and you can read the data coming off of FireDragon and understand it. Whereas before, you would have to hire a consultant that could be thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars to come in and interpret what all of that stuff means. And that's where we kind of came into the market, is that we understand that some of the smaller and medium-sized businesses, they can't spend that type of money, so they don't. And so what we've got is we're an alternative to say, here, we've got a product that's within your budget that you can use and can keep your data safe. And that being said, you'll see that as going through the court systems and what's going on, you'll see that the companies are being made more and more liable for this type of detection and this type of intrusion. And that's really where we fit, is we fit in there to make sure that the companies are safe, but also make sure that they're not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to keep up with not letting anyone in their network.
Well, okay, so let me understand this. So you make a product called FireDragon that is obviously a quantum, a lot less expensive than the hundreds of thousands of dollars you're talking about. It's an affordable product, available to most anyone. Can you give me a ballpark? What does FireDragon cost?
Well, it depends upon the different levels you get. But okay. For instance, a device on our scale, if we were to go to our competitors, anywhere starts from about 120 on up. We're in about 25 is where we start out at.
Wait,
we're about a.
When you say 100, is it 120,000 or is it $105?
Correct.
What are we talking about?
120,000.
$120,000. Okay, that's what the competitors and FireDragon costs somewhere around what?
Around 25,000.
Around 25. So it's
where we start at.
Okay, still prohibitive for a small mom and pop kind of business, though.
Well, it is to an extent, but what happens is that when you start looking at that type of product, they probably put that type of money into their business on a fairly consistent manner.
Okay.
And when you break out leasing and stuff like that, it makes sense, because what happens is when you're talking about the other side of breaching security, and granted, you know, for 4 and 5 people, this is probably not the solution for them. But if you've got a company of 40, 50 people and you're dealing with, you know, potential data that you can be sued over, like for instance, if you're a mortgage company, if you're someone that's dealing with financial information, if you're taking credit cards, that type of stuff, well, then you have to think about all of that goes on. And in that scenario, you look at that and go, well, does it make more sense for me to, you know, to install this or to take the risk of something coming in and basically attacking and pulling all of the data from all of my clients or all of my customers out of here, and then I'm liable for all of that. And that's really what it boils down to, and that's where I think that a lot of people don't understand how liable they can be for these type of things. And it's getting more and more where that liability is becoming more and more apparent through the court systems.
Now, so is this product reactive, or is this prevented? You know, is it something that you prevent attacks with, or is it, you know, some of your customers have been complaining that they've been, you know, compromised in some way, and then you go and get this, or is it something you just have in your system?
It's something that you have in your system, and basically what happens is that you have to understand the security breaches that go on. Like for instance, the security breach that went on at Target. The average security breaches that go on are they may have an agent sitting on your network for 18 months, and people just don't know about it. But that's the myth really with the whole cyber industry, is that people think that, you know, they're gonna detect it the next day, or that it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a situation where they know right away. Well, these companies didn't know sometimes for 18 months plus that they were actually being intruded. What FireDragon does is they would know within minutes if there was any suspicious activity going on their network, and then they could go either isolate that device or, correct the problem and get rid of the threat.
Well, Sean, here's the thing. I mean, how obviously these other companies are at the cost of well over $100,000. Yours around 25. I mean, are you saying that even though you're a lot less expensive, are you saying you're as effective or even more effective than these higher price competitors? And if so, how are you doing that?
Yeah, and the reason why I'm saying that is because we use the latest technology involved. A lot of these systems were developed and the platforms were developed years ago. And so we use a lot of the latest technology, plus the fact we also end up in a situation where we kind of focus the information. And I always liken it to, with a lot of the other systems, it's like trying to drink out of a fire hose. And with us, you're trying to drink out of a water fountain. Uh-huh. They give you so much information that it's difficult to determine what's going on. And that's why they have consultants that charge thousands of dollars to come in and look and sift through all of that information to figure out what is actually a threat and which is not. We kind of boil that down and say, here's your threats, and most any network administrator will be able to look at that and understand it.
All right, so you're making it very simple for the average person to understand, or at least a single IT person, then bringing in because when you have all the equipment for the other ones, you're saying they're using older technology, they have a lot more information they have to sift through, and that's why they charge you an initial thousands of dollars to try to find this stuff. You're using new technology, and you get right to the crux of the matter very, very quick. And because of that, you can charge a lot less. Is that what you're saying?
Because of that, what we've done is that we saw the industry in peril to an extent when it comes to a lot of this intrusion detection, because of the reason that if you have a company of 50 people, they can't spend $250 or $100,000 on a system for intrusion detection. So we kind of re-looked at that and reinvented the wheel to an extent. And then we also took it a step further and said, not only are we going to make sure that we use the latest and greatest technology to implement something like this, we're also going to make it easy for you to understand, so that if you have the one IT person, they're going to be able to look at the FireDragon console and say, yeah, I see where the problem is, and I know how to go and correct it and fix it because it tells me right here. So that's really where we come into play, and where basically we cut costs in this arena. But you have to understand that this is, this is coming regardless of what anyone wants or doesn't want. The intrusions are happening. The people have seen the ROIs, the return on investments of creating these type of intrusions, and basically they figured out that it's very profitable. And and that's where I think the misnomer comes with the public in general. They don't understand that these are crime syndicates a lot of times that are producing malware and stuff like that to put on systems. And that's unfortunate, because I don't think if we don't understand the problem, I don't think we address it correctly.
So, given the threats that you're talking about, why? And let's say I'm just an average person. Why is this important to me? Why should I care about all of this?
Well, average business, because obviously this is a business-focused product. So let's stick to business.
Yeah.
So the reason why the average person like yourself should care about this is because all of this stuff goes into a cost of doing business. And as you know, and as everyone realizes, that the cost of doing business is basically passed on to the consumer.
Yeah.
And so if I end up in a situation where I have a security breach, say I'm whatever, I'm a mortgage company and I have a breach, okay, that cost that it's going to cost me to take care of that breach, regardless if I take care of it either when I see it right off the bat and I have a real expensive system I looked at and called a consultant in and they came in and looked at it and did whatever to figure it out, or I have nothing at all, it's going to cost a hefty chunk of money, and that's going to be passed on to the consumer. So then when you go into to basically apply for a loan, your loan fees are going to be higher. If you are a retailer and you go in to buy clothes, the price of your clothes is going to be a little bit higher. I'm sure that the breach that happened at Target ended up in the end raising prices at Target. They might have not raised a lot because they're a big chain. They may not have had to raise it more than a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there, but it becomes a couple dollars here and a couple dollars there. As it goes down the road, you look at it and go, wow, this type of threat is costing me a chunk of change.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about, Sean, about how long have you been developing Fire Dragon?
We've been developing Fire Dragon for about the last 3 years. We announced the release, the North American release, in August of 2015, and so we're a pretty new product, and so we're in the midst of getting out there in the public arena and the private companies, and basically that's where we're at.
Now, is Fire Dragon software, or is it a hardware device that I have to place on my computers?
Well, it's a hardware device, and the reason why we put a hardware device is because we wanted to be able to control the environment. When it comes to cybersecurity, controlling your environment is a big thing.
Okay. Is it a little box? I mean, is it something rack mounted, or what does it look like?
It's a rack mounted device, similar to a firewall or something like that.
Okay. And connects to my computer via an Ethernet cable? Is that how that works? In other words, it goes between me and my computer, then the Fire Dragon box, then the router, and then off the internet. Well, how does it work?
So what happens is this is where we kind of shine over the rest of them. A lot of the rest of them have to connect where they're either pass through, or they're ending up in a situation where they have an agent or something else that sits on your PC, similar to something like an antivirus agent. What we do is we just have to have presence on the network. And once we have presence on the network, then we can basically pull information from the network, and it doesn't affect you or your network or your internet traffic or anything else. You're not passing through us. You're not doing anything like that. So that's really kind of the technology that we developed in a way is that type of technology, by mating that technology with an interface that people can understand. And so that's where we're at.
So you're saying, you're not causing any lag or slowdown of operations, that you work with parallel alongside of it? I mean,
correct.
So in other words,
we work alongside of the network, and basically what we do is we partnered with a company, with a organization that was basically was backed or was funded somewhat by the NSA, and they basically produce a product that goes out and kind of sniffs the network. What they call packet sniffing. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it goes out and takes a look at the network and basically kind of pulls that data. Well, what we did is we kind of took that technology or that product and interfaced with it, which we're, I believe, the only one that does this, and then basically takes that data coming off of that product and boils it down into a useful situation where you can actually use that information, opposed to having a consultant sit down and light that up and kind of figure out if they can figure out what's going on at that point. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
it does and doesn't, because all these packets, they're obviously going somewhere. If you do business and you do business with a lot of different people, and maybe you're going to a lot of different sites, how does this product kind of differentiate that, okay, this is, these are packets that are going to the wrong place, these are packets going to the right place? How do you boil down the information for someone to really say, okay, that shouldn't be going there?
That is in essence Fire Dragon. Fire Dragon basically takes a look at the information and scores it across our own proprietary algorithms and says, we know this is a threat because we're out here doing all the stuff in the background that you would normally have, maybe even tens of people, tens of 20s of people of doing this. What we basically do is we boil that down, and our process basically takes that information and runs through a multitude of algorithms that says, okay, we know this is a problem because of this and this and this, because of certain reasons, because we know that we've basically pulled back this website that this came from, and we know that this website is a bad website. We've ended up in a situation where we've looked at the actual stuff that was downloaded, and once we looked at it, we determined that there's not only a picture involved with here that was downloaded from, say, a retail website, but we know that there's something embedded in that picture, that type of stuff.
Got it. All right, listen, Sean, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll come right back. I want to talk a little bit more about some of the things that people should know about cybersecurity, and we're just going to pause, and then we'll come back to you, all right? All right, so you're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are talking to Sean Gallagher. He is the CEO of Cyber Black Ops. We're talking about their Fire Dragon network intrusion detection system. Got a news tips bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up as well. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Okay, I'll try not to blow it. Hi, Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Panasonic Whisper Recessed LED Fan. Yes, it's like that ventilating fan over your shower. We got it in and noted several interesting attributes. Its light source is a bi-pin LED flood that produces 950 lumens of light on just 13 watts of power. The capacitor Scirocco fan blower is also energy thrifty and capable of an extended service life while also reducing the acoustic footprint of the fan. In other words, the existing ceiling fans in our current just 4-year-old house are 3 to 4 times noisier. So lower noise, lower power consumption, longer intervals before any repair or replacement concerns arise, and great airflow all come together. Bottom line, compared to the Panasonic Whisper Recessed LED fan, any other fans we've ever had just suck, and noisily at that. Marty Winston with the News Tips and Bulletin Review for Computer America.
I hear you, Marty. You ever been inside in one of those old houses with those old fans? It's like a wind tunnel in there. It's awful. They're so loud.
Yeah.
I suppose. But getting back to the show, here in the second hour, we have Sean Gallagher here with us. He's the CEO of Cyber Black Ops, and we're talking about Fire Dragon Security. Great product. And right before the break, you kind of mentioned something that I'm sure that you know this. I'm sure one of the reasons that you're on during this month. This month is all about Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I believe that's it. Might be some other wording, but this month's all about protecting yourself on the internet and protecting your data. So you mentioned something there that you do that sounds eerily similar to other guests that we've had on, though they're mainly focused on not just intrusions and things like that, but mainly malware and things of that nature. And that's having a database, a repository, a whatever you want to call it, of known threats, known security issues, and you compare traffic and what people are doing to that database. Do you pull that from someone else? Do you curate that yourself? Where are you getting these definitions from?
Okay, so we pull from a multitude of different databases. Most people pull from, a couple of databases. We literally pull from, I think it's 53 databases. But also in addition that, as the Fire Dragon sits on your network, it also looks at your own behavior and generates its own database. So, which makes us different than most, because what happens is that we look at the behavior of particular people on your network, what's happening, and then basically we alert you that, hey, listen, this person, or you can take a look at the reports, and this person is a constant problem. They're downloading stuff. They're going to sites they shouldn't be going to, and downloading stuff to the network that they shouldn't be downloading. So we do that and basically keep track of that person for pretty much the life of them on your network. Most others just really basically look at databases and say, oh, is this a threat or is that a threat? We do a little bit more personal, on your network to determine what's the threat is and that type of stuff.
So, Craig, no more, I guess, questions if you something like this. None of those questions of you walk into a bank and they say, have you been to Russia in the past 12 hours? It already knows that you shouldn't be there.
Yes, exactly. I have a little tag that says I have not been to Russia when I walk into the bank. Exactly. Okay, so as Ben mentioned, it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and one of the reasons that Sean, we have you on here. And can you tell us about some of the things that people should know about cybersecurity?
Well, what they should know is a couple things. Is that they need to understand when they're giving their cards to people, credit cards, when they're giving their information to people, they should understand who they're giving it to. A lot of times you'll see where people will just haphazardly go and buy something, even at kind of seedy websites, and end up in a situation where, next thing you know, they've been breached. And they may have been going to buy a particular tool or a particular, product, could be, whatever. Mm-hmm. And end up in a situation where they're redirected to some site. They put their credit card information in, and bam, it's done. You hear people still getting caught with the phishing emails, where they'll end up in a situation where they get sent an email, and basically they go out and they click on it and it says put in your PayPal ID, and they put it in and it's not PayPal, or they eBay or this or that. So one of the things that they have to understand and look at it, and I've always been, and always told my wife this, but I've always told everyone, is that if you get an email from, say, your bank that says we've been breached, please log into your account, don't ever click the link. Go out to your bank's email or your bank's web address and type it in there. And I would venture a guess and say probably 9 times out of 10, you're going to find out that email was just out there phishing to get your information.
I just got something similar from PayPal, and when I hovered over the PayPal link, it was PayPal, P-A-P,
yeah.
And then up with the long string of numbers afterwards. So obviously it was not PayPal. If you ever call or speak to PayPal, they will say, we will never, ever, ever, and they keep stressing, will ask you for your password or anything, and they just don't do that. And I don't think
because let's just face it, PayPal itself, they don't need your password. They have access to all of your accounts anyways.
And exactly, and as it goes, we have to understand the information that we're giving out there. It's similar to, people lock their doors for a reason. They lock their doors so people don't come in their house, and steal or whatever. But you'll find people are so haphazard with their information that they'll give it to anyone. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of times that information is almost as valuable or more valuable than a lot of things in your house.
But Sean, isn't that changing? I mean, people have been hearing this, have been hammered about it over and over. Are people becoming more savvy now, or are we still? There's still goofy people who are goofy about this stuff. I mean, I would like to think that we're learning after 10 years.
You're not the millionth visitor, and you haven't won the prize.
I mean, are people?
Well, see, and this goes to the point of really of what we're talking about here with Fire Dragon. Is that people need to understand more than what they're being told, and that's one of the things that I find interesting is that we're evolving, but so are the people on the other side of the fence that are looking to pull your data. 10 years ago or so, people were getting inundated from someone from Nigeria that was telling them that they were the crown prince's son, and they were going to give them money and this and that.
Wait, you mean
anymore.
You mean they weren't? Oh no.
No, they weren't.
Okay.
And if you fell for it, you fell for it. But anymore, people look at that and they laugh. But there was literally thousands of people, if not tens of thousands of people, 10 years ago that were taking it serious and thought it was legitimate. So they evolved with all of this thing, and with the cybersecurity and everything else is all evolving. And unfortunately, it's like any other. You just had a person on earlier that was talking about Intel's evolving processors.
Yeah.
This one's faster than last one. The same thing happens across the board in every part of the industry, including cybersecurity. And like I said, that's one of the things that we looked at addressing with Fire Dragon is that, this is an evolution, whether we like it or not. I always like to say, you can like it or not, it's still coming. And that's how this boils down. So as we see the evolve of people's mentality coming to cybersecurity, we're also seeing the evolution of the people on the other side of the fence that are looking at it and saying, oh yeah, we know that they won't fall for the Nigerian thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it this way, or we're going to do it this other way. And they don't think about all of those things that go on.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit of reason? I'll be a fly on the wall. Why did you decide to develop something like Fire Dragon? I mean, you were sitting there, you're with colleagues and saying, there's got to be a better way to do this, or
were you one of the consultants and said, I could probably automate a lot of this?
I mean, what was the motivation? Why did you develop Fire Dragon?
So Fire Dragon really was really a concept that was generated out of somewhat being consultants and understanding exactly how the industry worked and how security worked. And so one of the things is exactly what you talked about. We thought, well, a lot of this stuff can be automated. We can make these interfaces easier for people that are not, that do not have a security background to understand. And so that's really where it was born out of. And to be quite honest with you, your average network administrator has very little information on how security works, and it's not a bad thing. It's not something that you don't that you would say, well, they're just not very good network people. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's a different part of the industry that they haven't really been exposed to, and in that scenario, that's where Fire Dragon really shines. Is basically now they have a consultant at their fingertips to identify the things that they may not be able to identify.
Okay. So if you had to define your target market for Fire Dragon, who would you say that is?
Our target market is like
other
size business.
Target.
What? Other than Target, yeah, the department store.
Yeah. is small to medium-sized businesses. We do scale, which is kind of interesting. I won't get real technical because it'll probably bore you guys, but we do scale up in a very interesting fashion. And so we can scale to large formats, but we're priced at the point where smaller to medium businesses can afford us. And there's a lot of other things that come along with that. Like, for instance, one of the things that we offer is penetration testing. And we'll take and go in and do penetration testing on your particular network. And then if you don't want FireDragon, then it's the cost of penetration testing. If we do want FireDragon, then we basically absorb that cost. So we have all of that stuff out there. Most people haven't even thought of penetration testing on their networks. And you'll see people that have a lot of data that sits out there that's just free when they get into their networks. Because you can imagine that if they're not thinking of external threats, they're really not thinking of internal threats at all. And that's where most of the threats are coming from. They're not coming from someone trying to hack into their firewall. They're coming from someone downloading something to their network and ending up sitting there and it's just gathering information. And this is not anything bad or anything that network administrators are doing. It's like I said, it's the evolution of cybersecurity. And they have thousands of people programming this stuff on a daily basis to get by the networks and get by the firewalls and everything else.
Well, Sean, I want to thank you for being here and taking the time to talk about FireDragon. I thought a lot of people have been listening and are interested in it. And again, if they wanted more information, you can go to the website, which is firedragonsecurity.net, or you can head over to computeramerica.com. Right there on our homepage, we have a link to the FireDragon website as well. Wish you best of luck and thank you for being with us and letting our listeners know about FireDragon. Sean, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, take care. You have a good day now.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye. All right, there he goes. Again, FireDragonSecurity.net. And again, you can check it out at our website at ComputerAmerica.com. Okay, well, actually, we have about 15 minutes to do a couple of news stories. So I think we'll just do some computer news right now. Let's just do it. Okay, here we go. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Check them out at slimwareutilities.com. You'll be happy that you did.
Yes, sir. So in this news segment, we are going to be doing news stories, and I promise I'm going to try to avoid as many Back to the Future stories as I possibly can, because I'll be honest with you, folks. There are a ton, T-O-N-N-E, ton of stories.
T-O-N-N-E. Yeah, exactly. And not only that, Star Wars trailer stories too.
Right. So there's that as well. But Greg, unless you have a story that you can think off the top of your head, I'm just going to jump ahead and do one of these.
Yeah, go for it.
And so with all the revelry and, hey, old movies, blah, blah, it might be very, very easy to look past one of the biggest news stories that happened this year. And it just happened today.
Okay.
Western Digital. You know them. They make memory. They make hard drives, solid-state drives. They do that kind of thing.
Yep.
They just purchased one of their biggest competitors in the market.
Monopoly!
They purchased SanDisk.
Wow.
Which, as you know, Western Digital, SanDisk, they're literally two of the largest names in memory. And it's, just a huge acquisition for Western Digital.
Well, there's Micron, I think, is the other big one too.
Yeah, there's only a couple. Like, seriously, the fact that I can only remember these two. There definitely are others, but like really only these two jump to mind.
Okay.
Seagate. There you go. that's another one. But no, but Western Digital purchased SanDisk. So this is from Maxim PC, Mr. Kevin Parrish, and yeah. So reportedly, Western Digital will acquire SanDisk for about $19 billion in cash and stock.
That's a lot of cash.
That's a lot of cash for a lot of memory. That could buy you.
Yeah.
That could buy you a lot of terabytes.
But lots of stuff. Yeah, good.
That buy you a lot of terabytes. So, they have a quote here from Western Digital saying that with this transaction, Western Digital will double its addressable market and expand its participation in higher growth segments. SanDisk brings a 27-year history of innovation and expertise to MVM, system solutions, and manufacturing. The combination also enables Western Digital to vertically integrate into NAND, securing long-term access to solid-state technology at lower cost. Because Western Digital, very, very strong in the solid-state market, whereas SanDisk, they do really great stuff with USB drives, with traditional hard drives. They have a very strong market in that. So with these two combined, they're saying that, first of all, 27-year history in memory, that is impressive on at its own right. For a tech company to stick around for 27 years is just outstanding. Mm-hmm. But to then bring that expertise and bring it into the fold with Western Digital, they're saying that not only will Western Digital benefit from acquiring their markets, from acquiring their their business and things like that, their customer base, SanDisk is going to benefit from all of the technology that is available to Western Digital, because Western Digital, again, they do really great stuff with flash memory. So it sounds like it's going to be a blending. Like this is beneficial to both, but of course, Western Digital is going to get a lot of value out of this, and it sounds like the people over at SanDisk, like it's not a purchase, gut the company and throw it all away. No. It sounds like they're going to be blending the two. Yeah. Companies together.
Western Digital also known for their hard drives too, their magnetic hard drives,
right?
And I think that was when you were thinking of the other company, Seagate,
right?
That's exactly what. But again, integration between the non-volatile flash memory and all that. I think that's certainly a.
Right. Well, the two companies back in 2013, they did. Team up to create I
remember that
a hybrid drive. It was it was Western Digital solid state drive, and it was a SanDisk hard drive.
It was called the WD Black SSHD. Yeah, that was called.
And so they worked together to make that. So it's not out of the blue that hey, one purchased the other. It sounds like they've been on good terms with each other. So though I kind of want to finish up with this article saying that in addition to the acquisition, SanDisk said that on Wednesday that it plans to continue its joint NAND venture with Toshiba, which has been ongoing for the last 15 years. The two companies said on Tuesday that they began installing equipment in the new Fab 2 facility, where they will jointly manufacture 3D flash memory starting early next year. So Western Digital said that the transaction is expected to close by the end of this quarter, and the deal also needs to be approved by the SanDisk shareholders.
No, actually, the third quarter of 2016.
Oh, I'm sorry. This time next year.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, no. All in all, this is a huge, huge, huge deal because first of all, $19 billion. That's nothing to sneeze at. No. That's a huge chunk of change switching hands. But I kid you not, these are two of the biggest players in computer memory, and not just computer memory, but for consumers. These two have always been at odds. They've always been. This is tantamount to the recent acquisition by AT&T when they purchased DirecTV. That was surprising to say the least. But this is right up that same alley.
Yep, exactly. Well, I guess hopefully the people who will best benefit from that are the consumers. Huh?
Yeah, people have, of course, they're more than willing to take their business wherever they feel is most deserving of it. But hey, it's there's now a really, really, really big guy at the top, and his name is Western Digital.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, this is an interesting story here. This is from Popular Science. YouTube is going to start something new called YouTube Red, R-E-D. What do you think that is? YouTube
Sounds pornographic.
Yeah, no. Basically, it's a subscription service that they're beginning. And when you pay for that subscription service, guess what? You get ad-free videos, downloadable videos. Okay. So this YouTube Red service is a challenge of Spotify and Netflix with expanded video and music platforms. This was posted by Dave Gershorn about 3 hours ago. This is real. This is cutting edge news. YouTube, Google's hugely popular, largely free to watch video service, is going to try something different, letting people pay for a subscription version of the website. So today, YouTube actually announced YouTube Red, which is a subscription plan that eliminates advertisements and offers additional premium content from the site's biggest stars, like PewDiePie. Since
he's very entertaining.
Yeah, since ads were previously the main way YouTube made any revenue, this is a huge shift in the business model. YouTube Red will cost $9.99 per month on desktop, mobile web, and Android, but users on iOS will have to fork over an additional $3 per month with a $12.99 subscription. Hey, what's going on with that?
You know what's going on with that? Who owns YouTube?
Yeah, Google.
And what does Google do?
Compete with Apple.
There you go. So obviously Apple's not going to make it too easy to develop on their platform. So extra development cost obviously follows down to iOS.
The story says the extra cash is meant to cover Apple's in-app purchase tax of 30% applied to all purchases made through apps found on the App Store. Okay. Now, the old ad-supported YouTube will still be available for those who prefer that option of viewing. You bet your bippy that's good better stay there. They're not going to pull that away. A huge benefit to YouTube Red's subscription service is also offline viewing. Offline viewing. Paying users will be able to save videos to their phone to watch later on. Now, I like that. That's nice, okay? Because how many times you're in an airplane or you're in a place where you can't get it, you could pre-download it to your phone and then watch it at your own leisure. Now, if this sounds familiar, Amazon Prime Video debuted this similar feature for their service, and industry giant Netflix has been notoriously resistant to it. But they're going to have to come around if they want to be competitive, remain competitive, which they are. YouTube Red also mercifully supports background viewing, meaning your videos will continue to play behind other applications. That's good. Now, initial reactions to all this have been mixed. Well, it's only been a few hours, so but okay. Initial reactions have been mixed, with a few tech journalists noting the name YouTube Red is somewhat similar to that of the adult entertainment website RedTube, and may cause initial confusion among users. You think the marketing people over at YouTube would have known this before.
They do Google Plus. You think they'd do something like Google or a YouTube Plus or something.
Yeah.
Just, we get it. You're part of Google. Why are you trying to slap a red on it and call it better? I don't know.
Yeah, and it can cause confusion. Again, I think you would think the marketing people over at YouTube would have realized this, but okay. Anyway, YouTube is also using.
Maybe they did.
Yeah, YouTube is also using this announcement to launch YouTube Music. Okay, well, let's see that works because that's self-descriptive. YouTube Music is a service validating the site's secondary role to many as a free music player. Non-paying YouTube users can use YouTube Music with ads, but music will play uninterrupted for YouTube Red subscribers. Okay.
See, now that I like. It's not just a video service because YouTube traditionally doesn't really have videos that you want to save for offline viewing or that you really care about. YouTube is a place where you upload, you watch in quick succession. Like, you don't go there to watch movies, you don't go there to watch television shows. You go to YouTube because, hey, your friend linked you a funny YouTube video and you go watch it. But as a music service, if you can subscribe to it, get ad-free, and potentially listen to entire albums on YouTube exclusively, that's very appealing.
Anyway, to finish the story, because we've got about 2 minutes left, Google Music Play Music subscribers can rejoice. A subscription on that service will extend to YouTube Red and vice versa. This is a direct threat to Spotify and Apple Music, who offer similar services without video
90
benefits.
seconds.
And you can also try YouTube Red on the 20th of October, and Google's offering a 1-month free trial to start. Okay, so there it is, YouTube Red. And again, that about wraps up the show. I want to thank all of you for listening to the program. Coming up tomorrow, we have GoDaddy is going to be joining us in the first hour. GoDaddy, the well-recognized and well-known service for creating domains, domain name registrar.
60 seconds.
They're going to be on the first hour. And then the second hour, yes, folks, we're going to have more computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Again, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank Cyber Black Ops for being on the show. Sean Gallagher, the CEO of Cyber Black Ops. Thanks to him. And again, thanks to you for being with us here on the program. Ben and I will see you here, same time, same station, and our new time, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Have a good Back to the Future day, everyone.
Yeah.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody. Again, thanks for watching. And Ben and I will see you tomorrow tomorrow afternoon. Same time. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, Ben.
No.
Okay.